we
Oh,
we
sorry,
forget
I forgot to
sometimes.
press that.
It's okay, it's okay, it's good. We forget sometimes, they were saying, that whilst you're in the human form, the things that trouble us, or the things that challenge us, or the things that bring us out of alignment, or the things that cause chaos are essentially our fragmented self. They're the emotions that have calcified, that have crystallized even. And that's really whenever you're doing psychic surgery, or whenever you're facilitating that, because you need someone who's able to hold the space, right? No healer is ever actually healing another. The ego will say that, but that's never actually the case. You're holding a space of clarity and purity in the best way possible for the being in front of you who is seeking the healing to actually bring themselves back together. But in order to do that, as you witnessed, Jackie, the emotion that has crystallized within us, even if it's a challenging emotion, that emotion has to come out. It has to liquefy really, and express itself. And that happens through sound, that happens through movement, that happens through oftentimes like a very yang expression, a very like expression, which is like the stamping of the feet, and different sounds can come out of us as we're alchemizing that with our voice. Yeah.
It was phenomenal, to be honest. And then we did in May, we did another night like that, like we're going to do next
Yeah.
Tuesday.
I'm so excited
So
about
that,
Tuesday.
oh, absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, we can't record it. It's not going to be a recorded session, so it is in person. But if you're anywhere near Emery Down and Bank Village Hall, which is near Lyndhurst, yeah, still a few tickets left. You haven't been about anyway, so you've been in China.
I've been in China.
What an
It looks like I'm still
experience.
there.
I know, what an experience, Alice. The degree, the temperatures, but also what you were doing in those temperatures. I mean, I don't know if you want to speak about that a little bit, because it's
Sure, sure, sure,
just
sure.
amazing.
Well, it's so funny because when you go on a trip like that over such a cosmically challenging time,
Yes,
it's
yes.
I'm like, you kind of go knowing that it's going to be a full-blown initiation on many levels, and that's exactly what it was. It did not let us down in that capacity.
It didn't disappoint.
It did not disappoint. So I was going to do a week of Shaolin training. So I've been doing Shaolin Kung Fu for a year now, in Bournemouth and Poole, and there was a trip being put together from the school that I go to go and train for a week, like how they train the Shaolins there. And it's fascinating because the school that we went to is called Shaolong, so it was called Little Dragon Warriors, and there's 10,000 Chinese students there, all learning kung fu. It's
Incredible.
phenomenal. So we train 7 days a week, from 5:30 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. We were training all day, every day. And it's so funny because I also do other martial arts. I do kickboxing as well. And I have a lot of friends who are, full-blown athletes. They fight professionally. Lots of friends who do other sports and things like that. And I've done a lot of sports in my time here, and it's fascinating because I've never felt something so intense. And it was just like literally 10 hours a day of training. It was fantastic. You really understand mind over matter in a different way, and you have a different concept of what it is to be in the human body and to push it past where we think our limitations are. So the first week was really phenomenal. Oh,
Share that.
oh, you're sharing Martine's.
Was that Martine's? But it was on your page.
Oh yeah, I might have shared it from hers. Yeah, so these are some of the students at the school there, and they're doing the chain whip there. So there's lots of different weapons that come along with Shaolin. So they're all training chain whip there. There's sword and staff and spear and lots of different things. But when we were there, our group got split into two, and I was learning an open form, so just like a no weapons, while some of the others were learning weapons. So Martine did a sword form, for example. So we got to learn they call them forms, where you're doing kind of like a routine, but everything you can actually apply it. It is made for application. but it just looks beautiful, you know, when you're doing it. But the depth in which you're pushing your body to in order to get into some of the positions and actually execute in a very fast and sharp and strong way, it's like you're using muscles that you just didn't know existed. Like by
You're
day
so
two,
fit. You're so fit anyway, the amount of exercise you do.
it was a challenge. By day two, my knees were buckling. I was like, I was having to like really talk to my body and go, come on, you can stand up. You've got this. Don't know what else you can do other than laugh. Really, it was really good. I'd go back. I'd go back to go and train in China. That it's really really cool. It's very very cool. But yeah, very hot. Like 5 minutes in, it's like you've jumped into a bath. You know, you're sweating that much.
And do you feel that because it wasn't that long ago that you did the 10-day silent retreat?
Oh, this is an interesting thing to mention. I think the 10-day silent retreat was harder. Mm.
Oh, because I thought, was that a help to build you up for this?
Yeah,
Thinking
it
that
did.
was the harder one.
It did, and I actually did think it'd be the other way around. I thought the Shaolin retreat would have been harder, but I think actually the Vipassana is more challenging because you're not speaking, and so you only have you, yourself, and you in a
Yeah.
Vipassana. But it was really profound actually because there's a lot of similarities because the Vipassana was obviously Buddhist. China is Buddhist, you know, especially like, you know, where we were, we visited a lot of temples. There's a lot of Tao temples, a lot of, you know, Buddhist temples. And the similarities, of course, between the stories of the Buddha being shown and displayed in the statues and things like that, having had gone to the Vipassana a few weeks before and having received all the discourses on the Buddha whilst I was at the Vipassana, I remember this one poignant time coming down a mountain. We climbed 4 mountains, Jackie. I'm like, I'm okay with mountains now. No more mountains for a little bit. We climbed 4
God,
mountains. This is one of them that you see in the background. This is Wudang Mountain, which is beautiful.
beautiful,
Yeah, you're
beautiful.
literally higher than everything else. um, but yeah, what was I going to say? It was really moving because at one point, walking down this one particular mountain, there was one of the stories of the Buddha where he's lay on a bed, and there's a particular discourse that we heard in the Vipassana, and I was like, oh my gosh, this was like the last discourse we learned when we concluded the Vipassana, and I'm seeing the same thing depicted here in the statues and it was very moving. There was so many moments where it's such a different world there. It's really hard to articulate because I mean I'm still unpacking it. I'm going to be unpacking everything that I experienced for a long while, I think. But it was so fascinating because it just at the most random moments in time, just like magic, points of magic would just appear. Like the amount of dragonflies in Beijing and just in China, you're surrounded by dragonflies, which to me are all about like magic and just, you know, shattering illusion and really like jumping through timelines and dimensions. That's what dragonfly means to me, and I'm just surrounded by them all the time, and the most beautiful butterflies. But yeah, there were some places where you could tangibly feel the energy vortex. And when you're moving your body and you're in your body, like the purpose of this life is to be in the body, right? Is to be human.
Mm-hmm.
And it was profound because even though with that much movement and that much in the body, you don't really, you're translating your psychic senses in a very different way. So when we're not moving our body as much, our mind can really fragment itself and we can really kind of go a little bit overboard with some of the stories that we tell ourselves about what we think we're receiving. But when you're moving your body, when you're in your body, everything that you're receiving has got a very different way of expressing itself. So even when you're looking at things like telepathy and then downloads and light codes and things like that. But then there was a few places this one particular day that we went to. It was very much a whistle stop tour. So it was like we was like one place and another place and another place and another place. But I remember going to the Temple of Heaven in Beijing, and I remember just walking as soon as I got through the gates. And you got to imagine it's jam packed in China. We're there at peak time. summer holidays. You know, it's blinding hot sunshine. Every man and his dog are out. Well, no dogs, but every person's out. You know, and it's like worse than like Derby Day in Manchester when it's a chaotic match. You know, I mean, there's that many people, but still, you can feel like my head was just swirling and tingling with all these codes coming in and just all this energy coming in, and I could feel it like moving through me, going down into my feet and back up again. And I was like, see, you can't even make that up. It's just, you're so in the moment, and then that happens and you go, oh, there's definitely more to this experience than what is meeting, you know, what's meeting the eye right now,
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh. I mean, really, I just think, oh, I admire you. What, when you said to me that you were going and that you didn't think you'd have much internet because they're quite strict on the internet, I was
Mm.
thinking, I think you were quite free over there. You had quite a bit of freedom once you were there. I thought it would be quite restrictive for some, because you said about the internet, I thought it would be in a restrictive
Mm.
sort of.
It's kind of like it's a bit topsy-turvy. It's there is a lot of restriction, but in a different way than there is in the UK. So if you have a Chinese SIM card, then yeah, you're going to need a VPN to get on things that we use in the West. So like Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Google. You know, none of those apps are made really for China. China has their own version. So it's fascinating because I can see when some governments are trying to kind of, you know, do this digital ID thing and stuff like that, you know, I can see where they kind of get it from, because China has something very similar. You know, everything's tied to this one ID card that they have, and everything goes through a QR code, and everything's linked to you. So there's a lot less freedom than the UK have in that paradigm, you know, in that comparison. But at the same time, it works for them to a capacity. You know, it works better than it would do in the UK. But I was using my I got to the point where I was just using my own SIM card and just paying for the data roaming. I was like, I'm not, I need to be able like to talk to my family and friends, and I need to be able to have that ability to go onto Google Maps if I need to find where I'm going, which I'd have struggled if I had a Chinese SIM card when I was there. But
I'm going to look for the picture that you
okay.
posted of when you got the certificate, and
Oh, yeah,
I put that, I think I posted it on mine. Well, that is,
too.
yeah, that's the one with you and your passport. So I don't know where the one with, oh, it might be on your Ascension to Love.
Oh yeah, probably.
Quickly on that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is then, because it'd be nice to share that. I mean, the heat, the temperature that you were in. Oh yeah, you've got the pictures of right, I'm nearly there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to
It's
find
okay.
it.
It's like my printer is doing something really fascinating. It just randomly printing stuff. So as you're looking, like I can just hear this noise in the background going, what's happening? Like, oh, my printer's doing something.
How funny.
It's got a life of its own right now.
Ta-da!
Oh, look, there I am. We literally just performed. So we all had to learn a form, like I was saying before, and I was learning Shao Hong Chuan, which is like little flood fist, is how it translates. And we had to perform that in front of a load of students. So not the whole school, because there's 10,000 people at that school, but we got to perform it in front of their wushu team, their young wushu team. And we didn't realize that was going to happen. So I got to go first. And they were like, Alice, you go first. I'm like, oh, great. I have to go perform this form that I've learned in front of a load of kids that are just like superheroes, and in front of a load of teachers from the school. But yeah, I know I did well enough to pass, so that's really cool.
Well
Yeah.
done, honestly. What a thing to do. I mean, just the braveness. You had to travel out there on your own as well.
Oh God, yeah, don't ask about
Oh, really?
that.
Really? I mean, yeah, that was brave
That was a challenge.
help.
That was quite a challenge. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I mean, like I went on this trip knowing that it was probably going to be very karmic, knowing that there was going to be a lot of stuff that was going to come up. So I feel like I went with a bit of extra preparation, knowing the astrology of what was going to happen, and obviously, and knowing a little bit of the astrology of like other people that might be there as well. So I felt like I was fairly prepared, but at the same time, it was very intense, firstly, physically, of course, mentally, emotionally. And it was kind of like we had the same ups and downs as what it seems like everyone here did. Like when I've been back a few days now, and I've spoken to a few very dear friends, and of course I've started working with clients one to one again, and it seems like everyone's been going through these like peaks and valleys of shedding, of clearing, of grieving, of releasing, of healing, and it was no different over there. It was just very unique. But it's fascinating because I can even see like the similarities from 11 years earlier when I first moved to France. And I moved to France on an Easter weekend. I didn't realize all the shops were closed. I didn't realize, I got there, I couldn't buy anything, when I first moved to France. And I was having like a similar experience when I got to Beijing. I was like, I can't communicate with anyone. I don't know how to get to where I'm getting to. Oh, shoot, I've just missed my train. How do I get to Zhengzhou from here now? So it's like I
Oh,
arrived at 3 a.m.
oh
when I should
my
have arrived
God.
at 10 p.m., but I got there eventually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was good though. It's like I feel so much stronger, um, because when you go and you're going as part of a group, and albeit a very small group, which was really quite nice, I think, for the trip that we had. It needed to be a small group, but going somewhere with people that you don't really know, it builds your own independence in quite a healthy way if you allow it. Of course, you can swing it the other way, but if you allow it to build your strength, your inner strength, your courage, your resilience, and um, you know, it definitely will do. And you
You,
realize that the whole world is there to reflect you. So
oh,
yeah,
amazing. Well, you actually went a couple of days before the actual trip,
yeah,
so you were traveling on your own.
yeah. I
Like,
know,
even
and
though you were a small group once you got there.
yeah, and it was really beautiful because once I'd finished the travel, I actually I had the honor and the pleasure of staying with one of the Shifu's family. So I had a couple of days where I got to kind of just tag along with one of the Shifu's wife, which was really cool because she was just hilarious. So I got to go visit her work. I got to go have some really cool food. The food was amazing there. I'm
Oh,
like, I'm like, come back to the UK. I'm going, I don't know what to eat now. I got to have like tea ceremonies. And so the first
oh,
weekend was like utterly luxurious, really, in comparison to all the intensity that followed afterwards.
oh my goodness. And
Yeah,
so
it was
what
really
was
cool.
it when when you got there, did you find they're very spiritual people? I know you're saying Buddhist, but are they generally, do they understand about or do they believe in reincarnation? Are they very,
Um, I would, I couldn't speak for the whole of China.
oh no, of course, but like the group
um,
that you
but
were or who you met?
the the I mean the Buddhist culture tends to believe in reincarnation,
Yeah.
right? That's the whole point. There's different planes and different levels of planes, and animals are on a plane lower than humans, and it kind of like there's lots of different levels and planes, and it has the potential to be incredibly pragmatic. Just knowing how Buddhism works a little bit, in my ignorance, knowing how Buddhism works a little bit, it's got the potential to be a lot more pragmatic and real than even how Westerners view spirituality, which is
What I thought.
yeah, it's very it draws you in. But when you look at what the day-to-day life is, it's just very in the moment. It's like the Chinese, like where I went in Zhengzhou, they're so resourceful. You're driving down a dual carriageway, and the middle of the dual carriageway is vegetables and herbs growing. Everyone's planting something. They're just like everyone's planting something, they're digging something up, they've got vegetables growing everywhere. It's incredibly resourceful and just very down to earth.
Oh,
And in some ways as well, it's kind of like, you know I find sometimes we can get ahead of ourselves a little bit in the West, where we're kind of overthinking and over intellectualizing and kind of missing the point of being here in a physical plane. And then it's some of the very simple things that you might look over to some places in China, and they're kind of straddling third world and first world, and you then realize, but actually they've got it down pat a little bit better than we have, really, in some capacity, because they're just getting on with it, and they're just having a very simple life, very easy. It's so hard to explain, because it is such literally like, it was like I was taken upon a spaceship and just dropped into a different planet. You know, that's what it's like.
Yeah, yeah.
But I loved it. I'd go back in a heartbeat.
Would
I
you?
loved it. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah,
Amazing.
I'd go back in a
Amazing.
heartbeat. I'd do it all again, you know? Um, Maybe organize it a little bit differently to like match just myself, or if I choose to go with a couple of other friends, I'd do it a little bit differently, but I have more time in some of the places and things like that. But I'd go back to China in a heartbeat. It's beautiful and I think very
Is
misunderstood. Yeah.
pictures I've seen, you know, just, but it is quite a mystery to us, I think, a
Mm.
bit here, China,
Yeah.
really.
Well, it's just a lot
Um,
of propaganda about other countries that we have, right?
oh, exactly, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um, because it's like Japan, you're more like, I don't know if that's true anyway, just in my mind, I think you're more likely to visit Japan than China. I don't know
oh,
why.
totally.
Oh,
It's so
yeah, yeah.
funny. No, it's so funny because like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I'd love to go to Japan. Never thought of going to China. It was the same with Canada. I was like, I don't really want to go to Canada. Then I lived there for 4 years.
Oh, you just chilled at that because I just love Canada. I mean, it is
Mm,
just, isn't it? So beautiful.
yeah.
But I would love to do the Rockies. Never done that.
Oh, I used to live near there. I lived in Alberta. So, you know, the Rockies kind of like start over in Alberta. I mean, they span really far, but there's like Calgary and Banff and stuff like that. And yeah, so I was only a couple of hours away from there when I lived there. It's really cool.
Incredible. 4 years. How
But
really? Are you
yeah,
writing a book, Alice?
I think there's a few on the cards there.
Yeah, I bet there
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I just have to get down and do it.
So what we're really talking about today, I guess,
Mm.
but I did want to just talk about that because I just knew it had to have been the most
Oh,
incredible
God,
experience.
and there is so much more I could ramble on about, but I don't want to like waste people's time here. But it's if you got the chance to go to China, go, go and do it, and get out of Beijing, right? So go to Beijing, it's great, but get out of Beijing, go to a couple of other places, go to like Xi'an, go and go and walk the city wall at Xi'an, go to Henan where the Shaolins train. It's like, you'd see kids with like weapons in the middle of the street practicing their form and no one bats an eyelid. We'd train outside in the car park. We'd go like some of the times, we'd go train in a local park and everyone, oh, okay, I've got to tell you this, Jackie, you'll love this. We would go out in the evening and they've got all these like food carts and food shops. Like everyone is out, everyone's socializing, everyone's getting food, and everyone's exercising. There are dance classes, tai chi classes, qigong classes, people running in the park. It is so busy, like outdoor gyms everywhere. They're such an active people. So like in the morning we'd go out, it'd be 6 a.m. and we're walking to training, and then you'd see people walking down the street like doing qigong, like so like hitting their body, waking their body up, like hanging off a tree.
Oh my gosh, how incredible.
Yeah, it was really
How
really fun.
incredible. And that's all ages, wasn't it?
All ages, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like no limit on ages. In fact, it's probably more the elderly people than young people doing that. Yeah,
That's
it was
marvelous.
crazy.
It
I
really
suppose
is.
they need to go to the toilet, I guess, though, because it's all squatting toilets there. So they're supposed to need to be active in order to actually like go for a wee.
My lordy. Yeah, you did mention that. What, just say what that's like.
Um, put it this way, the amount of squats and frog jumps that I did on day one and day two made it very hard to just like squat down afterwards. But
Literally, what, outdoor toilets?
all the toilets in restaurants, toilets everywhere, they're squatting toilets, generally speaking, unless you're in a hotel. Um, unless you're in a hotel and the
Bit.
hotel is for Westerners. So like 4-star, like tourists have to go into 4-star and above hotels really just because it's such a different world, right? So our hotels all had normal toilets, but yeah, you go to a restaurant, it's going to be likely a squatting toilet. Um, which, I mean, science has proven that if you give your body more space, it's actually better to do that. But no one in the West would be able to do that because we all have limited mobility by the time we're like 40 or 50, So it's just quite funny because you have people that are like 70 and 80 running around the park at 6 a.m. You're going, huh, China's doing something very different here.
Wow, that is
Mm,
incredible, isn't it? What an
yeah.
experience.
Yeah. And there's just one guy every morning at 6 a.m. singing his heart out. It was just so random. I loved it. It's just this guy in a little put car thing, just singing on like every
Oh, I
morning.
love it. Love it. Oh my goodness. So you definitely go back.
I'd go back in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. And they quite like they welcomed you as well, didn't they?
Yeah, and you're like minor celebrities there, in all honesty. So it's quite interesting. It's like when we went up the Great Wall of China, I got a t-shirt that was like, I climbed the Great Wall. And I was like, I actually didn't get too far because I got hounded by Chinese people wanting to take photographs, because a lot young kids that were on a school trip probably took over 100 photos, just me, and I was with 5 people, so we all had so many photographs. We were stuck for half an hour up at the top of the wall taking photos. But there's a particular etiquette, and if you're able to kind of catch on to whatever the local culture etiquette is whenever you're traveling anywhere, you'll get accepted very quickly. If you're trying to speak the language or trying to kind of catch on to the language, you're going to get accepted very quickly. So I felt very honored, because the Chinese people that I met, friends and colleagues of some of the people we were with, they seemed to really like my presence. So that was really kind. I seemed to be able to match up with the etiquette very quickly, which I just think is respectful if you're going to someone else's country. So
Oh, totally, yeah,
yeah.
totally. Which
Mm.
actually brings us to what you're doing next Tuesday. Although we have spoken about that, I know now. But when you did the one in May,
Mm.
like Bob, for instance, didn't think you would actually be doing the answering of questions from your higher self or from the
Oh
diamond,
yeah.
or whoever works through you. And
Mm.
so it was really lovely for him. So of course that is what you're actually going to be doing. Now I don't know
Mhm.
anyone watching this that knows Jerry and Esther Hicks. I will just make that bit of a comparison because I love Jerry and Esther Hicks. Obviously
Mm.
Jerry's passed and
Mm.
Esther still does that, but she channels through Abraham.
Mhm.
And any question, so you sit in the hot seat and then you ask
Yeah.
any question, and the simplicity of her answers. And this is so similar to what Alice does. It's just amazing. So
Oh,
for us to
that's
have that opportunity, because if you went to see Jerry and Esther Hicks, you wouldn't be spending, or Jerry, Esther Hicks, it wouldn't be £10 for the evening.
no, it wouldn't be. We pay for a
Gosh.
cruise.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, she does cruises.
Yeah,
But
it's just
they're
cruises.
billionaires. I mean, they really are, because what quite incredible, because Jerry
Mm.
had the questioning mind and
Yeah.
Esther had the no, didn't, didn't have this question in mind. So she was able to just bring it in
Mm.
through sort of inspiration, I guess,
Mm.
just open her mind to the answers. And it just works so well. But yeah, you just within less than a minute, I'd say, you go into that state and you can answer the questions, and it's just something amazing to witness. And so not only are you doing that, I think I did already share the screen on the one that we're doing. No, not there. I'll open it again in a minute. But the one we're doing next Tuesday, but also then we're going to be doing the there it is, on the 7th. Yes,
Of
7th
September,
of
yes.
September, because it's a very similar thing as well. So I'll just open that as well and show people, because you'll
Sounds
be at that
wonderful.
one as well doing the same, which is
Hmm.
marvelous. So I'll just get that.
Whilst you're getting that as well, just to kind of elaborate even further, what's really cool about, for example, Esther Hicks and Abraham, when Abraham comes through, is that so human nature, like we kind of need a name to go by. That's why people like having a name. But even Abraham would say to Esther that, they're an aspect of her oversoul. Same with Bashar and Daryl Anka, yeah, Daryl Anka. They're all beings that are part of the oversoul, part of the higher self of the being that's channeling through. And when you're practicing um, bringing that through in such a clear way, with the intention of it being so clear, and the body is clear enough, it's like you say, the answers that come through, they're so phenomenally simple and very joyful to hear. And I love how you were mentioning, Esther Hicks, like billionaire or whatever now. And this is one of the points that the higher selves kind of always want to bring through, no matter who it is, no matter what star, constellation, planet, or emanation of source is coming through, is that abundance. And I mention this because our talk on Tuesday, I think it's about abundance, right? We're doing like the
Is
ease of overflowing abundance.
yes,
And the point is that when you are following your heart, when you are excited about life, when you are in your service to your human experience, and you're not trying to be who you're not trying to play a role, and you're just allowing that joy to move through you, you will have what you need and more. And a lot of us tend to struggle a little bit with abundance, and whether abundance is in a very physical interpretation of that, or whether it's emotional abundance, love, like friendships, community, whether it's your home, having what you need to sustain yourself and your family, whatever that abundance looks like, it's all the same. It's just all flow energy. It is that stream of who you truly are moving through you, making itself manifest in whatever way is necessary. And the purpose of the evening on Tuesday is really to help anyone that's got a question. They can ask whatever question they want to ask. There's no question or topic off limits. And the answers that come through are really going to speak to the individual and the collective, the room, right? It's really going to help piece together and put that missing jigsaw piece puzzle in, so that you can kind of go away and go, oh my gosh, I get it now. I get it now. This was the bit that was missing. That feels so right. I get it. So I know that anyone that is meant to be there will be there. And if you
Absolutely.
can't make it, if you're elsewhere, if you're in another country, don't worry. There'll be another time, another place, or on a YouTube sometime. But if you can make it next week, it's going to be really beautiful. We had a full room last time, and it'll be really cool to have those types of
Absolutely.
questions again. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's just such a beautiful hall that we've got, this Emery Down in Minstead Village Hall. I don't think you've been there before, Alice.
Not
You will
yet.
love it. So it is limited tickets, because there is only really 35 comfortably.
Yeah.
But even so, that's such a lovely group to see that.
It's very intimate. You're going to get your questions answered, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll have loads of questions anyway. But so if anyone is at point where they don't want to say anything, then I will definitely have questions always. But yeah, love it when people bring their own questions out. This is the other one that I'm just gonna show.
Oh, this is going to be so wonderful.
Let's just see now. I wonder if I can change it to the actual I'll come back to you. No, I can see where I am now. Is that showing the day of it? All
Yeah.
6 pictures?
It's not showing all 6. It's showing Donna, Tim, and Colin in the
Okay, so I'll
photograph.
come back a minute and get the one up with all 6 up of the people that were there. So yeah, we got Donna Maxine White, Tim Wilde, Follow Your Heart. Donna's going to be doing, it's a very interactive day, this one, on the 7th of September, and it's near Wimbourne, very close to you actually, isn't it, Alice? And
That's so convenient.
so that's brilliant. Yeah, so Donna Maxine, she's in Purewell, Christchurch. Wonderful, wonderful woman. She does tarot card reading. Well, there's not a lot she doesn't do really, but yes, on that day we're doing abundance mandalas. And
Nice.
so we'll be colouring our own mandalas for abundance. And that really does, to look at that, an abundant, to look at a mandala, it's very good for bringing in what what your thoughts are around. Follow Your Heart with Tim Wilde. So he's doing the heart chakra, talking about the heart chakra, but also following your joy, passion.
Nice.
Colin Flaherty, he spent 4 years with the Crow tribe in
Oh, cool.
Australia. And if you his back, he's got the most amazing Crow tribe tattoo on his back. But
Ah,
yeah, he done the lodges,
oh, the sweat lodges.
wet lodges, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Very
The
powerful.
questions that the talks that I've heard from him about his experiences at that time was just, it is really wonderful. So
Profound.
that's, and Colin's been a friend for many years.
Mm.
Carrie Pilcher, we're going to end the day with Carrie doing the singing bowls. And she's got the chakra singing bowls, which is really beautiful. And Carrie always comes along too, if Alice is there as well, but to all Tim Wilde's do's with her lovely son Ziggy. And then this lady in the middle at the bottom is Alice Heath, who we're talking to now. And she's going to
Hi.
be doing the same. And I've called that in the hot seat, because it is that you'll be doing during that day as well. So
Absolutely.
that's again interactive, because again people can ask you questions, which is wonderful. And then Kate May with her numerology, and numerology is so interesting, how it can help us. So she'll be asking you what your numbers are, birth dates, etc. And you can work out from that, from the information that she gives. I mean, it's just going to be a really lovely interactive day.
It's going to be so nice. I'm really looking forward to it, you know, and
Oh,
I think what a treat to have such a variety as well,
yeah,
you know. So
yeah,
like you're going to be able to get introduced to perhaps aspects and topics that you haven't come across before, that you don't know that whether it resonates or not, you're going to find out, and that's going to open up some really wonderful things. And just to have the combination of everyone there as well, not just the speakers but also the guests, you know, it always adds the really beautiful familial aspect, I think, when we do in-person gatherings, because it builds that strength of community, that beautiful and intricate spider's web of beauty, of joy, you know, of love. So it's really nice to come to in-person days, because it really opens that heart up in a beautiful way and helps you feel like you belong on earth, you know. So if you ever feel like you know, it's a bit challenging or a bit hard to be here, then get to some in-person events, you know.
it's a fact. Honestly, it is. We
Mm.
had the in-person event there at this same hall at Hamworthy Club in April with Diana Cooper and Robert Holding, and it
Oh,
was just so special. It was really, yeah. And one of the most, I'll just tell you this incredible thing that day, was that this girl was there, and I didn't know at the time. She'd messaged me on the Wednesday and said, was it in person or online? And I'd just gone back and said, oh, I'm sorry, it is in person. We're not going to record on that day. And that was it. But she was there on the Saturday, and while Robert was speaking, he said, and you might have been sat at home in New Zealand on Thursday morning saying to your husband, I'm really drawn to going to this event in Poole in the UK, in Hampshire, in Poole in the UK. And he said, when is it? She said, Saturday. And he said, but you'd have to leave today if that's the case. She said, well, there is a flight at 9 o'clock tonight. And her husband, I'm just absolutely chilling now, the gooses. Because he said, well, if all the doors open for you, then you're meant to go. And she got the flight. She was there on the Saturday morning at 9 o'clock.
brilliant.
Most amazing lady, yeah. She did a whole quote from A Course in Miracles. Like, we're all like, wow.
I love
Yeah, yeah, totally on, you know, I think her whole thing is forgiveness. Um,
that.
yeah,
The ease
amazing.
of trusting the universe and allowing that overflowing abundance to come in and just put the right flight in, the right
Yeah.
she saw the right post, you know, had the right energy in the home with her family, you know, it
I am
just all came
literally
together.
head to toe chilling on this. It just was so amazing. Yeah, and then I spent the day with her a couple of days later. I offered to take her because I thought if she's gone out of her way to do, you know, so then we went to Amber's party together and everyone was like transfixed, like really interested in her. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah, so that's what can happen at an in-person event, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
You
the people
just
you get to
never
meet.
know. But
That's
anyway,
what
so
makes it
yeah,
fantastic though, isn't it?
so yeah, Alice has got the in-person one next Tuesday, all on my website, jackie-white.co.uk. And then on the 7th of September, again in person, but
Mhm.
in Wimbourne, well, near Wimbourne. So yeah, all
Sounds
good.
wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining me this morning, Alice.
You are very, very welcome, Jackie. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I look forward to seeing you and the puppies again sometime soon. But
Yes,
if not before then, I'll see you on Tuesday.
wonderful. Okay, thanks anyone that's watching. And I'm back on here tonight actually with
Oh,
Louise Delaney from Ireland. She's written
oh,
3
nice.
books, a trilogy of 3 books.
Oh,
Channeling again, yeah. She only got to start during 2021, and she did it daily. She's like dated all of her things daily of what she asked, what questions she asked, and what
okay.
answers came through. So yeah, that will be interesting.
Oh, that'd be really, really cool. And I wonder, can I mention quickly an event I
Yes,
have on
yes.
Thursday? So now I'm back in the wonderful old Blighty here. I'm back online. I'm back with my one-to-one clients. So yeah, I had a great Saturday working with people in private appointments. So they are available if you wish to book any of those now. But on Thursday night, I have a online workshop with grounded feet and an open crown. So this workshop is really catered to everyone feeling very anchored, very grounded, very stable, very safe, very secure, very wholesome in their human experience, while still being able to access and connect with the higher wisdoms from their higher self, that oversoul source energy, receiving the downloads, the cosmic energies, but not getting swayed. So if it calls to you to uh, delve more into that, then I look forward to seeing some of you on Thursday, the 22nd, Thursday evening. And you can just go to aliceheath.com to find more information about that. But Jackie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this conversation. And
Thank you,
it's always
Alice.
wonderful to see you.
Okay, and we'll see you very soon. In fact, I'll
See you
probably
very
see you
soon.
Thursday as well. Lots of
Yeah.
love.
Lots of love, honey. Bye.